Namaste, welcome to another episode of DilSe Stories. We have once again a very special guest, Pavani Nagpal. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Namaste to you too from India.
Thank you. Uh, Please introduce yourself to our audience.
So, my name is Pavani Nagpal, and I'm a visual artist or a painter. And I love to paint stories that have been instilled within me through women, and women are who I represent. So, you'll see the story of my life and many women in my canvas.
All right, and I'm Dr. Parag Bharadwaj. It's interesting you mentioned that your paintings actually represent stories. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, could you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because are do they reflect personal experiences or observations that you made while through your journey?
So since childhood, I've always been a dreamer. Like I love sleeping and I love going in the dreamy world. Like I still do that. But growing up, like my dadi and my nani used to tell me stories before going to bed. And they used to mostly be of gods and goddesses. And sometimes they used to be fairy tales. And all I remember is they like all of them had like a happy ending. Like a prince would come or like a god or like someone would rescue the damsel in distress and then the end. But through my canvases, I like to narrate stories that maybe in life people might not have happy endings and they might just be a work in progress all their life. So that's the story I just want to tell through painting.
So it's not just art and colors, it's actually you're sending out a message. And
Yeah.
and it's interesting you said damsel in distress, but your art actually shows women in very bold dimension.
Yeah, because like I feel in life everybody goes through ups and downs, and it's like an ocean, like high tide, low tide. But the ocean remains the ocean, right? So you remain you no matter what you go through.
So it's very philosophical, right?
Yeah, I mean
uh,
it's not just beautiful women that I paint with a lots of like with lots of jewelry and like the perfect outfit and like the neat paintings. It's actually a lot more.
right. um, so do you leave that for the person who's looking at your art to interpret, or do you, because it seems like to me a lot of times art is like in codes, right? So sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's the artist's reflection of what they're
I
thinking.
leave it on the viewer. Like, there are a lot of women, there are a lot of men as well, like who've related through it and who've told me like, I see a lot of power in your art, but I do see some part of pain and I do see some part of like hesitance or something. Like, there are people who get it, but for some people, it's just a beautiful work of art, and I don't mind that until and unless I'm not earning money, until and unless it fills my pocket. Okay, you do you, I do me. So I don't need to tell everything to everyone. Then otherwise, like it'll be a very fixed narrative that I'm telling. And then you will just have that in your mind and like it won't leave anything for you to interpret. So I just leave it there. It's how you perceive it. And art
Very nice.
should make you feel something. And it makes many people feel a lot of things. So
Great. So many questions to ask you, but let's start off with how did you start your journey as an artist?
So I was born in a typical Punjabi household. I'm the only child, over pampered child. And I used to live in a joint family with my dada dadi and my cousins. And my mom just had one dream of hers that my daughter needs to succeed in everything. Like from painting to basketball to dancing, singing. She tried her best to like make all the classes, like all the summer courses and everything. And art just somehow was one of it, where I was introduced to Sunday art classes every Sunday when I was like 6 years in class sixth or fifth, maybe 2005, 2006. there used to be a teacher that used to come every Sunday at 11 o'clock, and I used to have a Vana class with him. And he used to teach me the basics, life drawing and how to see the human anatomy, and then the usual, whenever any festival is coming. So the Diwali scene and the Holi, and like what we used to get like in competitions in school as well. But like by time I realized that, so I was from a very academic inclined school. I was from DPS. And, it was like service before self, but like your grades need to be out there. So, like every Monday, we used to have tests, and like no matter what, like the Monday test will happen. And, Sundays used to be like the worst day for us because our parents used to be like, you're not going out, you need to study for your test tomorrow. But like what I realized was that Sundays were the days that I started looking forward to. Like that 1 hour of art class was what like I really enjoyed. Like it started as like a tuition, but it just turned into like therapy, love, or like just that 1 hour of me time. And I don't even know when I realized, how I realized, but by the time I was in class 10th and we had to like choose our subjects in school. So I was like, I want to do humanities and I want to take fine art as a subject. So
And how was it received by your parents? Because it's first of all, it's very interesting because I know a little bit about the Delhi scene and kids who go to DPS and the pressure they are under. It's very interesting that they
no,
actually,
I had the same pressure. मेरे को
yeah,
बहुत डांट पीटी. In
yeah,
10th में मेरे 8 CGPA आए थे. That's like 80%. And I remember like my mom beat me up like, what the hell is this? I
yeah.
expected a 90, like, and like she was like, what are you doing? You studied so much. I put you through tuitions. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm bad at maths. You know that. You were bad at maths. It's just that your parents like try and like I just feel like till today it's my dream also, but I'm also fulfilling my mom's dream. Like because my mom got married at the age of 21, and there's always like, what if I didn't meet your dad? What if I didn't have an arranged marriage? What if like maybe like she studied interior design but she left it because she was pregnant with me? So like I feel like I'm not just living my dream, I'm living my mom's dream as well.
All right.
So
So every time you say something, it gives me like 10 questions to ask you. So I'm going to try to keep them all together. But so yeah, it's interesting. So she actually had a knack when it came to art, right? And because I was going to ask you, is your mom an artist? Because it's not where I was going with that whole description of the Delhi scene is I'm assuming not many parents kept an hour aside for their kids to actually learn art and
yeah,
experience it. So I think that was a bit unusual in your situation, very forward thinking of your parents,
yeah.
and that blossomed. But tell us about when you what aspirants did your parents have for you when it comes to a profession? How did when you said you wanted to do fine arts, how did that go?
Yeah, from my dad's always been that chill dad, okay? Never got a scolding from him. He always got the brownie like points, and I was in love with him because कभी डांट ही नहीं पड़ती थी. Me से तो like I was like, I don't like her. Like, why is she always scolding me? Why is she telling me what to eat? Why is he like, like it was like divide and rule. And my dad made sure it was there. Like, even if he was upset with me, like till today, like I'm 29 and he's never shouted on me. Like it'll always come through mom. So mom is, like the face of it. But it's like both of them together. So like dad was like, so basketball was also one thing that I was really good at. I'm really tall. I'm like 6 feet tall. So like that also I succeeded in art. And then I took a decision for myself, like, okay, I'm in India and we don't have NBA and everything. We have it now. But like I had to choose between okay, sport or art. And I chose art and my dad thought, ठीक है, 10th में है, 11th में fine art ले लेगी, it's just a hobby. उसके बाद तो क्या पता कॉलेज में she'll do something like English honors, psychology honors, she'll do something of her own. And always my dad was like कि, listen, like my dad's into construction and everything, so he was always like do interiors, do architecture, let's work together, you're my son. He's always brought me up like a son. My mom's always brought me up like a daughter. So like he's like, you're my son, you know, we'll do business together. I was like, I don't want to do business with you. Like I didn't say it then, but I was like, yeah, we'll see, we'll figure. I have 2 years. I'll figure what I want to do. And they were never like so pushy that you have to become a doctor, you have to be an engineer. Because like all like my childhood, like I was given a picture that my parents were very good in studies. Until in class 10th or 11th, I remember I saw their mark sheets and I was like, this was a lie. Like you both were really bad at it. My dad so like didn't pass in subjects only. Like I saw like his report card and everything was red. I'm like, what is red? He's like, red is pass, green is fail. I'm like, okay, this much sense I have. Okay, I'm like, what is this? He's like, हाँ पढ़ लिख के कुछ नहीं मिलता मैं बन गया ना जो बनना है बिना डिग्री के नहीं वो I'm like आपके में चलता है हमारे में नहीं चलता we need education now. But like it's been a good journey and like my parents have never stopped me. Like my dad has his own way of saying things and it's taken a very long time. Like I feel maybe like last year in December when I had my solo exhibition, I saw my dad and he never said it, you know, that I'm proud of you, like I love you, and like dads have their own way. But I saw it on his face that, you know, he's proud of what I'm doing. Like I saw it. But mom,
Very
you know, like
nice.
mom's always been that encouraging one, like paint, do this, and like she's always been like bring your creative side out because she's always felt like there are a lot of people you'll meet who are doing 9 to 5 jobs or who have their own business, but maybe they have dreams of becoming something else. The plus point was that my dream of becoming an artist was never like parents was never a problem. It was I was only the problem. I feel like I should have started a few years ago, but like it's just been my journey. It's there's never been a problem from home. So that way I think I'm very blessed.
Very good. Now, so where did you go for further training? You went to college. What did you
Uh,
do? How was that
School.
experience?
So in class 10th, 11th, 12th, I had fine arts and I had like a few more subjects like psychology, political science, and then English and economics. Economics was something I was very bad at because of that I had maths. So like 11th grade, as soon as I got like a subject like fine arts, so my principal used to be very upset with me because she was like, you're playing basketball and you know, either you're playing basketball or you're in the art room. And I used to be a tomboy in school. So she's like, listen, like in 11th class, if you don't get 50% and above, we're not going to send you in 12th. Yeah, I was like 11th में कौन पढ़ता है 12th में boards ही देने होते हैं and 11th में like I stopped like studying. I either used to be in the art room like painting or I used to be playing for the school team. And then my 11th grades came, and I remember it was like a 50 or a 55% from a person who used to like I used to come first, second in class till class 9th. And then 10th, I was like 80%. And then 11th, it was like 50%. My mom's like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, I want to be an artist and I don't want to study in India. I want to go abroad. So, you know, my parents are like, okay, we've been doing what you're saying. So now you do what we're saying. You get 90%. And that was like a तुक्का मार दिया उन्होंने कि भाई 90% तो इसके आने नहीं वाले तो इसको बोल देते हैं तो फिर ये बाहर नहीं जाएगी तो फिर यहाँ पे इसको जो करना है कर लेगी एंड 12th में मेरे 93 आ गए और साथ में मेरी एक्सेप्टेंस लेटर भी आ गई सिंगापुर से तो मेरे पेरेंट्स तो शॉक में मैंने बोला यू नो यू सेड 90 आई गॉट लाइक 93 सो बाय आई एम गोइंग सो लाइक 12th तक आई वाज लाइक दिस ओवरली पैम्पर्ड चाइल्ड घर से बाहर नहीं निकलने देते थे एंड नाउ दे वर लाइक कि भाई चले जा एंड यू नो इसमें भी आया था कि आई वाज लाइक आई डोंट वांट टू गो टू सिंगापुर आई वांट टू गो टू लंदन आई वांट टू गो टू रॉयल कॉलेज ऑफ आर्ट्स तो लाइक तू लसाल से अभी अंडरग्रेड कर ले सिंगापुर से पास में ही है यू नो इंडियन मेंटालिटी होती है कि मैंने बोला फ्लाइट में तो बैठना ही पड़ेगा ना कुछ होगा तो चाहे 8 घंटे की लो 4 घंटे की लो 5 घंटे की लो फ्लाइट में तो आना ही पड़ेगा तो लाइक नहीं अभी अंडरग्रेड यहाँ से कर ले उसके बाद मास्टर्स तू जहां से बोलेगी वहां से करेंगे तब तक यू नो लाइक आई वाज दैट यू नो रिबेल टाइप और स्कूल में पूरी टॉम बॉय रही थी लाइक लाइफ भी नहीं देखी थी तो मेरे को लगा कि ठीक है यार कहीं तो जाने दे रहे हैं घर से बाहर तो जाने नहीं देते थे तो कंट्री छोड़ने का टाइम मिल रहा है भाग जाओ I went to LaSalle College of Arts. 6 months down the drain, I was like, what is this? Yeah, I was not ready for this. Like the culture, the people, and like, I was missing home. Like, I didn't realize I was living with them so much, but when you're living with someone, you don't realize the importance. I was like, I miss home. And I spoke to the faculty and everything that let's make this a diploma degree for 6 months in painting. I want to go home. So I remember I'd come back from for Navratras only, and there was Diwali. And my parents went to leave me at the airport, and my dad is like, देख तेरे से नहीं हो रहा ये, खुद काम करना पड़ता है, रोज सुबह उठ के सब कुछ खुद मैनेज करना पड़ता है, तू छोड़ दे, तू वापस आ जा, यहीं पढ़ लियो. I was like, no, dad, I'm going to make it in life. And as soon as I landed in Singapore, I was like, I want to go home. And I called up my parents and I'm like, Dad, I want to come back home. And he's like, ये टिकट के पैसे किसने दिए? मतलब टिकट नहीं खर्चती तू, यही रह जाती, किसने बोला तुझे वहां पढ़ने को? पर मेरे अंदर तो वो था ना कि मैं नहीं बोला, आपने ही बोला 90 से ऊपर लाने हैं, तो मैं तो जा रही हूँ. Then I left Singapore and I came back. And 6 months I was on break here because no college was accepting me in India. Then after that, I tried. I was like, okay, Delhi is home. I don't want to leave Delhi. I made that in my mind. I was like, अब तो कुछ भी हो जाए, Delhi में ही पढ़ना है. I tried in the government college, College of Art, Delhi. I went through like till the interview round and then I got rejected. And I was like, अब एक और साल तो waste करना है नहीं. Let's go to a private college. Let's go to Amity. I did my bachelor's of fine arts from there. It was a 4-year course. And like, trust me, it was the best time of my life. Like, I met the best faculty from India. We had faculty from abroad also. Like, we had faculty from Royal College of Art, LaSalle as well. And then there were teachers from Shantiniketan, Baroda. And those 4 years, like, people don't understand. मैं किसी को बोलती हूँ मैंने graduation painting में करी है, तो उन्हें लगता है, कि मैंने सिर्फ पेंटिंग करी है. Like, I had 11 subjects, out of which there was Indian art history, Western art history, art theory, method and material. And these were all theoretical subjects. And like, you had to get good grades in that. And plus we had a lot of subjects like painting, drawing, live drawing and all this. So like, it was like a proper like school, but an art school. And I met so many like-minded people. And like, Amity is known कि बच्चा वहाँ जाएगा तो बिगड़ जाएगा, but like that was not the case with me because like our department was so good. And like for the first time in my life, like I felt accepted, because being an artist in India is like, out of 100 people you'd meet one person who's an artist. Otherwise they're engineers, doctors, lawyers. Like, lawyer is the new profession in India right now. Like, क्या बच्चा क्या बनेगा? लॉयर बनेगा, बिकॉज डॉक्टर में तो बहुत ज्यादा ही पढ़ाई होती है, लॉयर में उससे थोड़ी कम होती है. एंड आई थिंक आई हैड द टाइम ऑफ माय लाइफ इन Amity.
Yeah, I can tell you're really excited about your time there, you know.
Yeah.
So what happened after that? After you finished college, how did your journey
Then I
proceed
wanted
from
to
there?
do a master's. I was like, MFA also I want to do. And उस टाइम पे ना, आई रिमेम्बर, जो वो 6 मंथ्स का गैप था जब मैं सिंगापुर से आई थी और Amity नहीं गई थी, माय पापा वाज फ्यूरियस. लाइक, ये तो 50 लाख रुपए आग में लगा के आ गई है 6 महीने में. फीस चली गई है, बिकॉज फीस वाज अ लॉट. फीस लाइक 20-25 लाख rupees, and plus you're living abroad, so expenses are quite a lot in comparison to India. So I remember like one day he was at some construction site and my mom just told me that you're sitting at home, please go and give this medicine to dad. So I just went there and someone was like fighting with him over some wall paint or something. And I remember he just called me, and I thought, he's going to tell his client that I'm an artist and whatever. And then, my dad is like, अरे बहुत महंगा पेंट करेगी, इससे करवा लो, दीवार पे पेंटर है ये. And my face was like, oh shit, ये क्या बोल दिया यार पापा ने आना. Like, my painter knew, and I just ran away from that. And अभी तक मेरे पापा डिनायल में ही थे कि this is just a hobby, it will pass. Then Amity के बाद I again applied to the same government college, College of Art. फिर मैं इंटरव्यू तक पहुंची, मेरा रिजेक्ट हो गया. एंड आई वाज लाइक यार दिल्ली तो छोड़ना नहीं है। और आर्ट में ना मतलब ऐसा कुछ मेरे को मतलब मिला नहीं कि मेरा स्टाइल भी तब तक मैंने डेवलप नहीं करा था। लाइक मैं विमेन पोर्ट्रेट्स तभी भी बनाती थी बट लाइक ऐसा कोई मेरे इनर वॉइस और कॉलिंग नहीं था। आई वाज टैलेंटेड, लाइक आई वाज स्किल्ड, बट लाइक ऐसा कुछ मेरे को ये नहीं था कि विदाउट आर्ट लाइफ इज नॉट देयर और लाइक आर्ट इज व्हाट डिफाइंस मी। सो आई वाज लाइक यार अब पापा का भी सपना पूरा कर देते हैं, अभी तक तो मम्मी के उससे जा रहे थे, तो एमबीए कर लेते हैं। Then I went into business school. बिजनेस स्कूल के एंट्रेंस में गई, अभी मैथ्स तो पढ़ी नहीं हुई थी मैंने। There was like a 50-50 का ये, and passing marks you needed were 45. And 50 marks was all like economics, finance, and all this. And 50 marks was you had to market a Pepsi bottle in India and you had to do the branding India. So I remember I made a full drawing of a Pepsi bottle and I designed the label and the packaging and I wrote about it, which I was good at. And I think I got 50 only on that. And that's how I got admission. Those 2 years, I really struggled to pass because these were not my subjects. But I met different kinds of people. And, I was like, okay, this is also life. Like everyone had this goal कि मतलब मैंने तो ये सब सुना ही नहीं था कि एपीएमजी में जाना है, इधर जॉब लगाना है, फिर हैदराबाद जाना है, मोहाली जाना है, किसी को कौन सा डबल मास्टर्स करना है. So this was all new for me because I came from like a art school to a business school. I would say it was a good experience. Like some things like when I was there for 2 years, I remember like this is one thing I would want to change about art school is हमें आर्ट बनाना सिखा देते हैं बट कभी कोई सिखाता नहीं है कि बेचना कैसे है इसको. और आधे से ज्यादा आर्टिस्ट ना इसी पे ही मार खा जाते हैं क्योंकि काम तो उन पे बहुत होता है. बट हम लोगों को ना इतना अपने शेल में रख देते हैं कि spend most of your time in the studio. They don't like Amity was good at this because there were subjects like a third language, like you could take Spanish, German, French, whatever, plus English. All these things were compulsory for us, but like this is just Amity curriculum. But in other art colleges, theory bilkul nahi padhate. So like marketing is something like आज की डेट में अगर marketing नहीं आती तो it's very difficult to like put yourself out like a brand. So this is something where I learned in business school, which really helped me. That I'll say today, if I say about it, that time I was thinking कि मैं कहाँ आ गई हूँ, ये क्या हो गया है मेरे साथ. So yeah, that was also a good time, but 2 years were very difficult to pass. Then COVID happened and online exams happened. So like I passed, thankfully, thanks to COVID. One good thing they did that the exams were online. So yeah, and beach mein like since childhood till now, like I used to travel a lot. My parents used to travel a lot with me. Then they let me travel alone also with my friends. So I saw and I went to different countries. I saw their culture. But something I found similar between all countries was art. Wherever you go, they have their own art. They have and art is something that unites all, no matter, where you come from, what you are. Art is something that is universal. So that was still there with me, but these 2 years of business school, I was off art. I was like, I don't want to paint. कभी कभी संडे को वही I was a Sunday painter and I was a painter for my home. Like घर की दीवार खाली है, okay, relatives need paintings, they'll tell me. But I was like, okay, like art is not going to pay bills for me. Like art is not something that I see myself making a career out of. So 2 years I was on like, okay, artist in me was there somewhere, but it was very like अंदर दब गया था वो, the art in me.
So when did that artist in you make a comeback?
So after business school, I was 25, I feel. And then, like I'd always seen and like let's get back to the stories. Like किसी की भी story देख लो, Rapunzel, Cinderella, Snow White. मतलब एक टाइम होता है लाइक चाइल्डहुड होता है, उसके बाद बीच में like there's a phase where you need a prince to complete you or he'll come rescue you. तो बचपन से भी मैंने यही देखा था. And my dad and mom, like, they were this couple, and I used to be like, someday even I want someone like my dad, and I want to fall in love, and I want to first find love, and then I'll find myself. So, मेरे को था शादी करनी है मुझे कॉलेज के एंड तक, कि अब 25 हो गया है. एंड इंडिया में लाइक 21-22 में भी लोग कर लेते हैं, बट आई वाज लाइक आई वांट टू गेट मैरिड एट अ यंग एज, हैव किड्स, एंड देन फिगर आउट माय करियर सो दैट आई एम डन विद द basic things, like, have a kid, have a house, have a husband, and then I want to figure out myself. So in 2020, I met this guy, at a party, and my parents were also looking for the typical arranged marriage setup, and so were his parents, and we clicked. And I was like, okay, I think this is good. And I think I didn't even date him, and COVID happened, and within a month's time, he proposed. So I was like, okay, wow, one thing is checklisted. And I used to always keep telling him, like, okay, marriage is not the end goal for me. I don't want to be the woman who sits at home, who's in the kitchen. Like, I know how to cook, but I cook, like it's therapeutic. Like, I like to see YouTube videos, and it's like art for me, creating art on a plate. But like, I won't do this, like sit at home, and like I'm educated. I want to make use of this. And then COVID was there, lockdown was there, so I couldn't get to know him that much. And I got married in 2021 March. And for 6 months I was married, and I would say these 6 months were the worst in my life. Like, I'd never seen struggle only. I was this, dreamy girl. I want to have this Sabyasachi lehenga, and I want to have this wedding entry, and I want to do this. Like, wedding for me was like a Bollywood movie. The perfect outfit, the perfect makeup, the perfect glam and glitter. But I never imagined, like, what if you get the wrong partner, and what if things don't work out? Where does that go? मेरा दिमाग तब चला ही नहीं, उसमें मेरा गया ही नहीं. I was like, okay, सबकी शादी होती है, सब मम्मा पापा जैसे हो जाते हैं, या whatever couples I saw around, they were happy only, like my grandparents also and all. It's like, I'll find a partner, and then we're going to like fulfill our dreams together. That's how life works. But it didn't work out that way. And after 6 months, I walked out of that. And after that, what I realized was, when I got married, I remember there was one point where I think 2 months had passed and COVID was there. And I was like, okay, 2 months of doing nothing. Like, now I'm getting bored. I want a studio and I want to start painting. Okay. So, like, the family was, I don't know what, orthodox or whatnot. But they were like, आर्ट वार्ट कौन करता है, अच्छे घर की लड़कियां आर्ट नहीं करती, आर्टिस्ट जाके तू पेंटिंग ढूंढना बेचेगी. And I felt really bad. And आज तक, like my 25-26 years of life, तब तक किसी ने मुझे आर्ट से रोका ही नहीं था. मैंने ऐसी स्टेटमेंट ही नहीं सुनी थी. And I'm a very emotional person. तो ये ना मेरे अंदर तक मुझे लग गई. Like, I tried to deal with it, and I was like, ठीक है, आर्ट नहीं तो डिजाइनिंग कुछ है. जब मैं घर वापस आई ना, so I was like, Mom, I swear to God, I'm never going to paint again, but I want to do something in life, because I've realized that, family is something that is going to be there for you, but there's something like money also. Like, I feel my dad today is this confident man because he makes this amount of money. He takes care of the house. He takes care of you. He takes care of me. And like, he's always like his chest broad and everything. Like, if someone asks me, what am I? Like, I was staying in my husband's house. Then I came back to my dad's house. Now I'm living in my dad's house. Like, what do I have to myself? Nothing. So then, my mom's like, what you're saying is like really stupid. I just feel like you're going through so much in your heart. You should express it on a canvas. I'm not telling you to sell it. I'm not telling you to do anything, but crying and like going into depression and like not eating, all this is not going to help you. Just start painting. Even if it's bad, good, you do that. And my mom called up the same art teacher who came to me 20 years ago that time. And he just dropped by and he's like, let's start painting. And I remember it was my drawing room at home. And my mom is like a control freak. कि भाई साफ सफाई तो नहीं हुई तो वो तो चिढ़ जाती है. So like, I made a mess of that room, and I used to paint every day, and I used to like vent to my canvas like like a therapist. Like, I took therapy also, but like my canvas was my therapist. Like, whatever I was feeling, I started painting on it. And my mom's like, okay, so do you really want to do this, or do you want to explore something else? I'm like, Mom, I think बचपन से लेके अब तक there's one thing that's been constant in my life, that's been art and you guys. Like obviously, like I can't do a degree on my parents. So, like I want to do art, and every day I used to wake up. रात को नींद नहीं आती थी, तो मैं कैनवस पे पेंट करने लग जाती थी। एंड तब ना मैंने इतना ज्यादा कुछ देख लिया था वो 6 मंथ्स में। मेरे अंदर से आई स्टार्टेड ड्राइंग विमेन ओनली, एंड आई स्टार्टेड ड्राइंग विमेन विद लाइक pink leopards, pink cheetahs, and these bold women. And I stopped painting eyes. I was like, आंखें धोखा देती है, मुझे भी लाइफ में आंखों ने ही धोखा दिया है, क्योंकि because I looked into the eyes and I saw love, and I feel eyes have been the most deceiving factor to me. क्योंकि बचपन से ही बोलते हैं आंखों में देखो, झूठ पता लग जाता है, सच पता लग जाता है, मुझे तो नहीं पता लगा। I stopped painting eyes. I was like, there's a lot more in a person than eyes. Like you remove the eyes, you see how the person is from inside, his soul, his likes, dislikes, or her likes, dislikes. So I will stop painting eyes. एंड आज तक कोई भी मतलब जनरली तो कोई कोर्ट केस में जाता नहीं है, तो मैं तो कभी कोर्ट भी नहीं गई थी, मैंने वहां पे भी देखा। और वहां जाके मुझे पता लगा कि I've been in a very privileged and a protected home. Like there are people who are going through so many bad things in life and they have to fight for it. And I felt really blessed. And ऊपर से like my parents were like, they was again not stopping me from doing what I wanted to do. So 6 months I made a mess of my home, and then my parents saw, my dad saw कि भाई ये तो serious है, इसको तो सही में पेंटर बनना है। अभी तक जो कर रही थी, there was something I serious about it. So I was like, पापा मुझे ना स्टूडियो दे दो। एंड दिल्ली के मार्केट प्राइस तो वी ऑल नो ओनली, यहाँ पे एक फ्लोर खरीदना भी बहुत बड़ा है। मतलब आई एम श्योर न्यूयॉर्क में और भी ज्यादा है, बट दिल्ली में भी लाइक द प्राइसिंग हैज गॉन रियली हाई। एंड मेरे घर से about a few houses away only, my dad like had bought one floor for an investment and we'd given it out on rent. So my papa being a businessman is like कि भाई मैं अपना रेंट क्यों काटूं, मेरे तो पैसे ही कम होंगे, तुझे तो आर्ट करना है तो तू एक काम कर, you take like the drawing room space, let the rooms be, there were girls living in this floor like where my studio is right now, and they were all college girls, and they're like, my dad is like, उनको ड्राइंग रूम एरिया तो चाहिए भी नहीं, तो तुझे जो करना है ना वहाँ कर ले, तेरे को गंद मचाना है, तुझे दीवार पे पेंट करना है, फर्श पे जो करना है तू कर ले। So I was very happy. I was like, okay, my father's finally trusted me and he's given me a space. And that space, I would tell you, कि बचपन से लेके अब तक I didn't know what's home, and I found home in those four walls. It was just me and my art. And sometimes my sir used to come, guide me, help me. But that was my sanity space. Like friends अलग है, family अलग है, but वो चार दीवारें में मैं होती थी और मेरा आर्ट होता था। And every day I used to show up. सोती तो मैं अभी भी बहुत हूँ, तभी भी बहुत हूँ। मैं 12-1 बजे उठती थी, खाना वाना खा के आ जाती थी, एंड देन रात को नींद आती नहीं, तो घर के भी पास हूँ तो पेरेंट्स को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती थी। देन मॉम्स फ्रेंड वन डे शी विजिटेड एंड मॉम इज लाइक कि इतनी सारी पेंटिंग्स अब हो रही है, सो लाइक पामी आई थिंक यू शुड स्टार्ट एग्जिबिटिंग। So I was like, I haven't done it, and I don't know how people are going to perceive my art, because the art that was coming out of me was very like my life. Like I did a series on women. The paintings were titled "Did It for Sabya," the Regal Empress, and like they were women. That's when I painted jewelry, because I painted women with so much luxury and everything. But like now you see power in my art is because I feel powerful. But that time I felt very lost. So
Yeah.
you saw everything there. That's where I started कि मैं outer superficial चीजें तो बनाऊंगी। एक तो मैं आंखें नहीं बनाती थी, ऊपर से my paintings started becoming very dark and they were showing how like मैं अंदर से कितनी डरी हुई हूँ and मुझे नहीं पता क्या। And I was like, आंखें तो मैं बनाने नहीं वाली। इंडिया जैसी कंट्री में जहाँ पे बोलते हैं नए नक्श देखो, सबकी आंखें सुंदर होनी चाहिए। जब मैं एग्जीबिशन में चली गई, बेइज्जती होगी भी, तो यहाँ पे क्या ही होगा।
So
So my mom is
Bhavyaji,
like,
I'm sorry to interject.
yeah,
this interview actually took a very different turn than I had anticipated. You were very bold in describing your experience, and we are running out of time. So,
Okay.
if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I really would like to talk to you about your art. Can we do another interview about your art?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because this was a, at the end of it, I'll tell you, we started off by saying, right, like your art reflects your personality.
Yeah.
And so, your personal journey and what you've
Yeah.
described about your art, the only one
Yeah.
word that I can think of is bold. You're very bold.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is what is reflected. So, uh, if you don't mind, can we
Yeah.
schedule another interview just to talk about your art? Because this has been just a
Yeah.
fantastic description of how your
Yeah. Yeah.
personal journey,
Yeah.
you've lived through that. And then
Yeah.
we'll talk about your art because it shows a reflection of how,
Yeah.
how your personal experience,
Yeah.
it comes on your canvas. So can we do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, we'll conclude this interview. And then we'll continue with another episode of having you as a guest and talk about your paintings.
Done. When do you want
Yeah.
to do it right now?
Yeah.
Done.
All right. So for this one, we'll
Yeah.
part ways for now.
Yeah.
Namaskar.
Done.
Okay.
Namaskar.